This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic!
What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is July 29th, 2024. Jonathan Osborne here, and with my co-host, Kevin Tucker. Kevin, what are we talking about tonight?
A whole lot of everything and a whole lot of nothing. I can't wait. Jonathan, glad you're feeling a little bit better. Got different shades on today. You know,
Yes.
Last episode,
Yeah.
the eyes are in rough shape. But yeah, glad you're feeling better. Yeah, so folks, we're doing anything but Magic mailbag today. We'll hit on a couple Magic things to start. Later in the show, dude, I've briefly peruse some of these questions, and we asked for all the random and we got all the random. It's going to be wild. It's going to be fun.
It's not uncommon for this time of year for you and I, or, like Luke, who is, obviously not doing this
RIP.
anymore. So
Yeah.
it's like, we have to just move on from that. But usually this time of year, like there is a text at some point earlier in the day of, hey, what are we talking about tonight? We've never not known that prior to hitting record.
Right.
Tonight is the first episode of the show where we genuinely have no idea what we're talking about tonight. And I'm excited for that. I know for some people, they're going to see this like, oh, doesn't have to do with the Magic. I don't really care. I don't want to hear it.
That's fine.
But I know there's going to be some people that are usually not locked in this time of year, but because it's not talking about the Magic and it's talking about literally anything else, people will tune in. So I think it's going to be like a fun mix.
Yeah, this show is over 5 years old, and we've never done anything like this. We've never done a show that is not completely centered around the Magic. I'm not saying we're not going to talk about the Magic, because we're about to talk about the Magic
other than
for a
like the
little
20
bit.
episodes of Shoot the Shot, but that was purposely.
I was going to mention that
featured around the
later.
NBA,
I was like,
which
I'll have to
is
roll
still
up the
such
intro.
a good name. Like we really need to like trademark that name and sell it to someone eventually, because like like I'm really upset that we couldn't do something with that name, but yeah,
it'll be fun.
Well, Kevin, earlier this week, or I think it was actually the end of last week, Friday, was Pat Williams' celebration of life. I admittedly did not have the time yet to sit down and watch the ceremony, but I know that you watched the entire thing, so I was hoping that you could kind of clue us in a little bit and just talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, first I'll say, I say this with all respect, it's understandable they didn't have time because it was 2 hours and 45 minutes long. It was a long service, but it's because there were so many people that got a chance to speak up and share stories about Pat Williams. We heard from all the people you would expect within the Orlando Magic organization, whether it was live or via video. Everyone from Alex Martins to David Steele to Nick Anderson, Dennis Scott, Penny Hardaway, Jonathan Isaac spoke in person. I mean, there are other people, obviously, but that's just some of the first people that came to mind, which was really cool. Obviously, some Central Florida kind of
no Shaq,
dignitaries. Huh? I don't remember. I don't want to speak out of turn. Someone may have to correct me. It was 2 hours and 45 minutes. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I had the whole thing playing in the background. I don't remember that, but it's
only
it's
reason
possible.
I saw multiple people comment on that there was,
Okay,
and
okay.
we don't know what happened, behind closed doors, but I think that's a pretty, like, if you would expect anyone to be there, like the most iconic photo of Pat Williams is like holding the Shaquille
Sure.
O'Neal jersey, right? Like,
Right. Or at least a video or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Shaq was busy, between the time when Pat passed away to the service. Who knows? But I don't remember seeing anything about Shaq. So again, all in all, it was an amazing, kind of celebration of his life. And yeah, it was, we got our money's worth because there are a lot of people that got to celebrate him. And yeah, it was very touching for sure.
Well, outside of that, really the only Magic news that we have is, when was that? Saturday morning, Germany took on Japan in like the opening round of the Olympic tournament. Germany won 97-77 over Japan. First half was, I don't want to say tight, but Japan was hanging in there. It was a little bit more competitive early on than I expected it to be, but Germany just dominated in the second half, as you could tell, on their way to that 20-point victory, which is now good for the second best point differential in the entire tournament, only behind Team USA, who beat Serbia 110-84 in a really impressive performance, because that game was pretty tight early in the first half as well. Franz Wagner in that game, 22 points, 9 of 17 from the floor, 6 rebounds. Mo Wagner added 15 points, 5 of 10 from the floor, 5 rebounds. Franz looked pretty good. Still shaky from behind the arc. I think he was 2 of 8 from 3, which I know is a concern to Magic fans. The ones that went in looked really good. The ones that didn't go in didn't look so great. I am still probably going to go into this season slightly concerned about the 3-point percentage, just because he's had a little bit of time to work on his game between the end of the Magic season and when sort of like the Germany like training camp started. He's going to have a little bit of time in between the Olympics and the regular season, but I don't think we're going to see like this massive overhaul of his shot between now and the start of the regular season. But Franz did play pretty well. Next up is going to be Brazil, a little bit of more of a challenge. It shouldn't be. They should still win that game pretty confident, pretty comfortably, I would say. But that game is going to be Tuesday at 3:00 Eastern, and just looking forward to following Germany throughout this tournament.
Yeah, Germany, I think, is probably a pretty good position where their games are kind of getting more difficult as it goes. Japan being their easiest, matchup. Then you have Brazil. Then obviously France, the last game for them in the group stage, definitely the toughest team and the home team. All that'll be going against Germany. But yeah, I think a pretty decent start for Germany. And as we mentioned, I know no Magic connection, but Team USA playing today on Sunday against Serbia. I mean, Kevin Durant,
dude, that first half, gosh. I don't think he missed in the first half at all.
8 of 8, 8 for 8. Yeah, in the first half,
ridiculous.
The dude was bonkers. But yeah, obviously Team USA.
And then
after
LeBron
2 shaky warm-ups.
Yeah,
2 shaky warm-ups. I mean, they just kind of established their dominance and stuff. Jonathan, we didn't talk about this beforehand. We were talking about some Magic-related things. I forgot to mention this, so I'm throwing this at you right now. Do we want to mention Tyus Jones signing with the Phoenix Suns?
It's not insignificant. A 1 year, who is it with? Phoenix?
Phoenix, yeah.
1 year with Phoenix, $3.3 million. So essentially the veteran minimum. It hurts given the fact that we just signed Corey Joseph for the exact same amount.
Right.
For me, it's much more of a role thing, right? Like they did not bring, they could have brought Tyus Jones in given the amount of cap space that they had before they started making like some of these other deals, to like restructure Jonathan Isaac's contract and Mo Wagner and all that kind of stuff. If the plan was to bring in Tyus Jones, they could have done that at what most people assume would have been market value at the beginning of free agency. To me, a lot of the moves that they made, not bringing back Markelle Fultz, not going after a guy like Tyus Jones, says to me one of the prioritizations of this offseason was to make a path for Anthony Black to play.
It feels like that.
And bringing in Tyus Jones, you bring in Tyus Jones, he's not going to a team to be the 15th man. It makes zero sense for him to, people would argue, why didn't the Magic bring back Markelle Fultz? At this point, Markelle probably doesn't want to be here. It makes no sense for him. And you could multiply that by 5 times for Tyus Jones. At this point, I think Tyus Jones contributes to so much more to a modern NBA team, given what he's good at than Markelle Fultz. So to me, that's market isn't really where it should be for him. This is a 1 year deal. He can go out, play really well, make a lot more money next summer, and he's obviously going to have a role for Phoenix. And it's a massive pickup for Phoenix.
Huge. Yeah, I think it's also important to remind all of us, because I know some people on Magic Twitter are freaking out. It takes 2 to tango. There's always a chance that the Magic tried to get Tyus Jones. We don't know that, but maybe they tried to get him, and Tyus was like, I want to go to one of the top echelon contenders, and so he chose Phoenix. We'll never know. On paper, you're right. That was on paper a team that should be competing for a title. But anyway, takes 2 to tango. Was Tyus Jones interested in coming here, and we just didn't offer? Were we interested in Tyus didn't come? We'll never know. But anyway, that was definitely a surprise, especially at that 3.3 number. That was very surprising to me.
All right, do we want to get into the mailbag?
Wait, what better time than now? Let's do it. I'm excited.
Let's do it. All right, the first one actually came through an email. This is from Jeremiah Quintero. This is going to be a quick one, I think, but he asks, who are your top 5 anime characters? I'm curious to see if our lists are similar. Kevin, if you watch anime too, I'd love to know your top 5 too. Kevin does not watch anime.
Absolutely not.
He says, I joined the Patreon this year. I look forward to becoming a more active member of the community y'all have built. Go Magic. First of all, go Magic. Thanks so much for being a patron and thanks for joining the community. Kevin does not watch anime. Do you have a favorite anime character though?
I couldn't name one.
Wait, one.
What's the Dragon Ball Z guy?
That's what I was going to ask.
I still don't think I can name him. What's his name? Goku.
Thank goodness.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
I know that name. That's the only name I know.
All 5 of his favorite anime characters are Goku,
Pikachu.
Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Goku, or Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, and Ultra Instinct Goku. Like those are all of his 5 favorite anime characters. My 5 favorite anime characters. This is the thing about anime. I've recently gotten into it in the last few years, but during a Magic season, I don't really have a ton of time to watch anime. And given the fact that my kids are really young and I'm very conscientious of like what I watch in front of them, especially when it comes to stuff with like, bad language or like a lot of violence, which a lot of the anime that I watch has both of those. It's impossible for me to watch anime during the day. So I basically have to watch anime at night when I have nothing else going on and nobody else in my house is really awake, which I usually am able to watch like a maximum of 1 episode of whatever I'm watching at that time before I start to get sleepy because I'm an old man. That being said, my favorite anime characters, maybe not in like any particular order because that's kind of hard for me to work out right now, but number 1 is Rengoku. If you're watching online, I have him tattooed right here on the inside of my bicep. Rengoku is my definitely number 1, and I could go on for a long time about why these guys are my favorites. Behind that would be Captain Levi from Attack on Titan. I have a really tough time like deciding between Itachi and Sasuke Uchiha from Naruto. And then right now, I think I would have to throw in Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Obviously, Naruto, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, those are all super popular right now. Kevin has no idea what's happening at this moment in time.
This is a foreign language to me. Oh, literally, but yeah, it's a foreign language.
I know a lot of people are going to listen to this. Oh my gosh, this guy's like, not up on his anime. I'm not, but I'm trying to be. And I know those are some of the more popular anime, so those are kind of cop-out answers, but that would be my answer right now.
Wow, that was something. Let's. I'm gonna find a non-anime. There are a couple other anime questions in here, but Jonathan, this is from Twitter. Joey Madera says, "Will Orlando ever have an MLB or NFL franchise?" This is kind of sensitive right now because the guy who was trying to bring MLB just died. Rest in peace, Pat Williams. So I don't want to be too insensitive. I feel like MLB is pretty much out of the question right now. I know there's still hopes that will happen, but with Tampa just getting approved for their new stadium, which is still going to be in St. Pete, which is a joke. And obviously Miami, both teams have attendance issues. I would be shocked if the MLB put a team in Orlando. NFL, I think would also be surprising. You got a team in Jacksonville, you got a team in Tampa, got a team in Miami. So long story short, I don't see it anytime soon. What do you think, Jonathan?
Well, if he would have said anytime soon, I would say no. But when you say ever, like
right.
Ever's a long time.
That is a long time.
I would say the odds are, like if you said in 100 years, does Orlando have an MLB and an NFL team? I'd be like, maybe. Ever is a long time. So
yeah,
that's what I would say. Maybe. I don't feel super strongly about that. Anytime in the next 20 years, I would say it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, same.
All right, the next one here. You guys are running College Football 2025, and what are your thoughts? This is from the Janitor 87. So yes, we've been running a lot of College Football 2025. Probably more than I would like to admit. I don't know if we told this story, but like Luke and Kevin have been talking about College Football 2025 for like years, right? And I was interested. I think I was probably more interested than the two of them realized, because whenever they would talk about it in our group chat, it would be, Luke, did you see? Or Kevin, did you see? And I was like, hey guys, like I kind of find this cool too, But so like the first day of the early release, I went in and I purchased the EA pass, which gave you like 10 free hours. And I had 3 days to kill before my golf trip. So whenever I had free time, I was playing that a little bit. but I basically ran out of time like pretty early into the third day. And I was telling Luke and Kevin, I was like, man, like I have a real problem here. Like I cannot not play this game. And then Luke texts, he's like, oh, so are you going to end up spending an extra $20 today? Because he had assumed I had already bought the regular version of the game and not like the pre-ordered version of the game. And I said, no, I'm going to end up spending $90 today because I'd never pre-ordered it. And I couldn't help but pre-order it because I wanted to keep playing it during the early access. So right now I'm in my redshirt junior season in the road to glory as the quarterback for the North Carolina Tar Heels. I went in as a contributor, which I probably shouldn't have been so prideful. I should have probably just went like elite or blue chip. I think that's a way more fun experience to just go ahead and do that. I was 6-0 today as the number one ranked team in the country. Virginia was coming in. The Virginia Cavaliers were 6-0 and they were unranked. And I threw an interception up 7 with 3 minutes to go. And then the first play of overtime, I throw another interception to lose the game.
Wow.
So now I'm ranked 10th. Virginia is now ranked 17th after being unranked. And I think I'm in my third season of my dynasty as the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. We've made the college football playoff 2 out of the 3 years. I think last year we lost to Georgia in the college football semifinal in overtime, or either in overtime or the last minute of the fourth quarter. But as I was telling Kevin, like the one thing that I just have not really figured out yet is recruiting. And I know that's really when the game opens up, is when you figure out recruiting. So we have been putting a ton of time into it. It's a flawed game. It's not perfect. Regardless of that, it is so much freaking fun.
It is so much fun. Jonathan, confession time. I have not played the game in 6 days, which is pretty wild.
That's wild.
But I also played it an unhealthy amount last weekend. So I'm basically detoxing from it. But no, yeah, it's fun. I still haven't even started my like road to glory yet. That's my next thing I want to start. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's really cool. Worth the wait. We talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but worth the wait. I think it's been awesome. Super fun. This is a good one. Have you ever watched a game of Aussie rules football? Okay, so me personally, I say I haven't watched an entire game, like from start to finish, but I definitely have watched some highlights. A couple members of our 6-man show team are from Australia. The first one was our guy Manny, who's a big Richmond Tigers fan, I believe is the team.
Go Tigers.
So go
Black
Tigers,
and yellow, baby.
We've
is
watched,
it yellow and black? I'm sorry,
that's right.
Manny. I don't remember.
We've watched many. I shouldn't say many. Several videos of the Tigers. So yeah, haven't watched a full game though. I need to do that sometime. It looks awesome.
So we hadn't talked about it on the show yet because I wasn't really sure like how much information they wanted to be shared, but I believe it was Brandon's girlfriend that posted to his Twitter. So I think it's important to let everybody know. If you don't follow Brandon, he's ORL_analytics on Twitter. Like a lot of the past several months when we've been, making, pushing different agendas, I'll say that unashamedly. Brandon helps us put a lot of that stuff together. Recently, he suffered a spinal cord injury, and has been like temporarily paralyzed and is recovering from that. So, if you guys, can just have him in your thoughts and prayers, as often as you remember to do that, just keep thinking about Brandon. We know that he's going to recover and everything's going to be great, and he's recovering, a little bit every day. But just wanted to give you all a heads up on what's going on with that. Keep Brandon in your thoughts.
Sorry, I was going to say the second member of our Australia team. That's why Jonathan brings that up, because
correct.
He lives in
Manny
Australia.
and Brandon. But back to the question about have I watched the game? No, I have not. But I have the AFL app on my phone, as a matter of fact. So I always get updates on what's going on with the Tigers and just different teams, like just around. I think it's the AFL. I'm looking for the app now. Yeah, AFL Live is the app. And the last I checked, like it's pretty expensive for us to like have a package to watch those games, and they're also on at like 2 a.m. Eastern time, just given the time difference. But what I will say is, like, if you've never heard of Aussie rules football, which I believe they call footy as well, it's just like a more dynamic, more physical version of like American football, right? Like They don't wear pads, and you're literally allowed to scale up your opponent's back to try to make catches. Like it's a fantastic sport. And from everything that we've heard from Manny and Brandon, like if you go to one of those games, like it's more of like a college football type of atmosphere. Like it's really, really intense. So no, I have never watched a full game, but yes, I have watched highlights. I would love to watch a full game. I'd love to attend a game eventually. It seems like a lot of fun. Next up, we've got this one from Arson45. Wolverine or Spider-Man? I've got a Spider-Man tattoo. For me, it's Spider-Man. I just like the agility, his sense of humor, the fact that he also has this like very human element to him where he's trying to handle his actual like real life and real life problems, but also like taking on this like very thankless job of being Spider-Man and like, you know, saving his community and sometimes even the world. I just find Spider-Man awesome. That's my favorite superhero. So for me, it is Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man for me, you know, I'm not into comics, so I can't really speak to those. I just speak to the films. The Spider-Man movies have been better. And so therefore, give me Spider-Man. I know it's a little weird that I've had 3 Spider-Mans in my lifetime, you know, when it comes to the movies. But hey, most of those movies are pretty good. So yeah, I'll take Spider-Man too. Eric in Vegas, also a patron of ours, says, who is your favorite comedian and what is your favorite line they have used? I'm not a big like stand-up guy. Like, I mean, I've watched some, but I couldn't sit here and tell you I've got a bunch of comedians I've watched. But if I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be like Brian Regan. I don't know if that's a lame answer, but I find him hilarious.
He is funny.
I just think I love his facial expressions and what's his favorite?
That's who I think it is. That is who I think it is.
Yeah, I think he's hilarious. There's a couple others, but yeah, he's probably like my favorite, I guess. I don't know.
He has a bit, and I'm sure you've seen it, about like guys when they're golfing and not talking about anything at all. Have you seen this bit?
I don't know about that one. No.
I'm going to have to find it and send it to you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but to summarize it, basically he comes home from playing golf with one of his buddies who's recently divorced, and his wife's like, how's Gary? He's like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean? You just spent the 4 hours with him in a golf cart. You didn't ask how he was. He's like, it never came up, which is like, it is so true.
Yeah.
When you're out there, like you're just talking about like anything other than your personal lives. You're talking about golf. You're talking about music. You're talking about a million other things. But no, that bit from him is hilarious. My favorite comedian my entire life has always been Adam Sandler. The Sandman. I just love him so much. I watched so many of his movies as a child when I absolutely should not have been watching them. Like I'm a Christian, you're a Christian. I don't admit that, or I don't hide from that, but I do have to admit that his movie Little Nicky, in which he literally portrays the son of the devil. I'm not, telling anybody to go watch this movie, but it is so freaking funny. And that movie, like the question is like, what is your favorite line that they have used? Something that I have said to my friends and family forever. Like if I'm holding something like a water bottle, I'll say, all right, the jig is up, bro. Get in the flask. Or, sorry, Cassius, it must be this super devil juice that dad gave me. Like I can quote that movie. The movie with Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg called That's My Boy. That's one of me and my best friend's very favorite movies. Another movie that I'm not telling anybody to go to watch because it's crude and there's a lot of dark humor in that movie, but like almost literally anything Adam Sandler, I will sit down and watch and laugh hysterically.
That's hilarious.
Next up, did either of you go to high school or any level with anybody who became a pro sports player? For me, I went to high school with Chris Duhon and Terrell Bieria, who played for the Seahawks. Is from Eric in Vegas. So first of all, the fact that you went to high school with Chris Duhon is pretty cool. No, I didn't go to high school with anybody that became a professional athlete. The valedictorian of my graduating class was like the third string quarterback for TCU when Jimmy Garoppolo was there. So that's like, 1 degree of separation between me and Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously, I went to high school with a few people that ended up becoming Division I athletes. I really think that's about it though. I don't know if anybody has seen this TikTok trend, but there's this guy Tyler Bergantino, who is him and this girl that he does like man on the street kind of TikTok stuff. He and this girl, they're both very tall. You know who I'm talking about. It seems like.
Yep.
So you've seen this.
Yes.
He went to Nature Coast High School, which is actually not too far from where I live now, and he absolutely destroyed my high school in the playoffs, like my junior or senior year. I wasn't on the team because I was a complete idiot and I graduated like 2.3 GPA. Nice. So I wasn't eligible to play basketball for a number of years when I was in high school. But that's like as close as it gets for like professional athletes.
Good old Tyler and Gabby on TikTok. Very familiar. Yep. Yes, actually. So when I moved back to Virginia after living in Central Florida, I moved, the high school I went to for my last 3 years of high school was Menchville High School, which what year was that? My junior year, I believe, maybe. Ended up being the number 1 ranked team in the country by USA Today. Had 4 players drafted from that baseball team. Menchville High School. And so, I had 4 guys. None of them, one guy had a decent, a relatively decent, lengthy MLB career. The other 3 guys, not so much. But yes, all 4 of them were drafted at least by major league teams. A couple of them actually played. One of them played for several years. So yes, 4 guys. I would say I definitely know one of them. If I ran into him today, he would recognize me. The other 3 mere acquaintances. But yeah, 4 guys went to the pros.
Can we
in
get
baseball,
some names?
Cool. What? The only one the guy that actually made it, his name's Jarrell Cotton. He's actually, I think he might be in Japan now. He played several years. Another name I'm not going to mention because he got into some trouble. But anyway,
Aaron Hernandez?
No, that was a different thing. I can't say I know him. But anyway, so those are the only ones that I would say came from the same schools I went to. Okay, this one's what?
I have one more thing. This might be a name that some people recognize. Patrick Schuster. I think he might have played for the Nationals at some point. He didn't go to my high school, but he went to Mitchell High School in Trinity, Florida. And when I think I was a sophomore or junior when he was a senior, he had like 2 no-hitters in a row. And I think like he had 3 no-hitters in the span of like 4 games. Like it was the talk of the town at that point. But no, my life was pretty, not all that exciting.
Right. Yeah.
But other people had exciting lives.
You keep talking about neighboring high schools. If we go the neighboring high school route, like Michael Vick, Allen Iverson, like all these guys went to the high schools in my area in Virginia.
Well, not when you were there though.
No, they're a little bit older. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, how do you feel about people buying fake jerseys? Is it the same as having fake shoes? This is from Just Hollywood 407. I don't think so. Like, maybe. Depends on how they come out. Like, for me, if it's a Magic jersey, I buy the real thing. The other sports, I actually don't like Bucks jerseys. I'm not spending football money on that. Like, that stuff's expensive. I'm not even near an big NFL fan as NBA. So, same thing with most soccer jerseys. I typically buy the fakes because, especially soccer jerseys, they're really dang close to the original. That stuff doesn't bother me. And the fake shoes thing, I don't care. Like, that's whatever. Now, if you're trying to pass it off as fake, as the real thing, like if you're trying to get people to think you have the real thing, that's different. But I don't really mind it. What do you think about fake jerseys?
Well, the question that I have is, why else would you wear fake shoes unless you were trying to play like pass them as the real thing?
I don't know. If you think they look cool, and
most people are buying fake shoes because they want people to think.
Most people,
it's usually like a status symbol, right? Like,
but that's
clothes. Yes, they're a form of expression, but like brand name clothing, it is a status symbol,
of course,
right? Like So I don't really care either way. Like I would never see somebody on the street and point out the fact that they were wearing fake shoes, right? I would never do that. I think that's the lamest thing ever. Yeah. Like if they look good, they're confident, they feel good about their fit, I would never say anything about that. When it comes to buying fake jerseys, I am the same way with Magic jerseys for the most part. Like I do like to buy the real thing. And when I say the real thing, we're not talking about like authentic. We're talking about like the swingman stuff. Right. That's like $140 at the team shop, right? When it comes to NFL jerseys, I buy fake jerseys.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like a normal person would never know the difference. So I really don't care about that. Like for the most part, like I just get them off of DH Gate, right? Like, I don't care about that at all.
Yep.
Craft Food Tours, which this might need to be an account that I need to follow just in general, but they're asking, what is your favorite experience while traveling? My favorite experience that I've ever had while traveling was my wife and I, we were married in March of 2017, but for our honeymoon, we wanted to go to New York City at Christmas time, right? To like get the Christmas in New York, like what you see in the movies, like get that experience. And when I say like a lot of things in life don't live up to the hype, that trip lived up to the hype. Like everywhere you go, there's Christmas music playing. It wasn't snowing. We didn't get that, but like you had everything else. It was cold. We got to see a ton of stuff. Like we got to see Central Park and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I went to Rucker Park. I went to Yankee Stadium. I saw the Statue of Liberty. I saw the Empire State Building. We went to Rockefeller Center. We went to the 9/11 Memorial. We ate like crazy while we were there. We walked. We explored. A lot of times we had no idea where we were going. We learned how to use the subway, which if you've never used any kind of metro or subway system, it is really easy to get lost very quickly if you don't know where you're going. So after like a day and a half, we finally kind of had that down pat. And just like the food was absolutely unreal everywhere we went. Like even like the Arby's in New York City, part of it was probably like playing mental tricks on me, but like everything just tasted different. Everything tasted better there. And we've been dying to go back and do like another Christmas New York City trip ever since. So that was my favorite experience while traveling. And not to mention, we get off the plane at JFK, right? Within 5 minutes, we had our luggage and we're outside, like trying to find where we needed to go. That's never happened to me at any airport anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was just awesome.
There you go. I think my favorite trip is still Yosemite. That's like the most beautiful place I think I've ever been. That was really fun. I have 4 other siblings. There's 5 of us. And so I'm the oldest. And so when I graduated high school, family was like, hey, we're never all going to be together again. Never going to have an opportunity to do something like this. So after I graduated, they took us out there and we went to Yosemite and a couple other things. But yeah, Yosemite was pretty stinking beautiful. It was awesome. All right. This one is from a guy named Fazan, a mayor. I'm not sure who that is. He said, who is the funniest member of the six-man?
No, you misread. It says, who is the ugliest?
Oh, ugliest member? Okay, that's funny. Who is the funniest member of the six-man show team? He says, and why is it Fazan? I don't think it is Fazan. I'm curious, Jonathan.
I don't know. It's not me, but
funny.
It's definitely not Fazan. I can tell you that.
I think he is funny sometimes. To me, the funniest guy,
David Bernauer.
It's
David Bernauer.
Yeah.
100%.
He's the wackiest. He's the funniest. But yeah, that's my vote.
Yeah. If you got teleported to a TV show, movie, anime, or video game, which one would you want to be teleported to? It would not be any of the anime because I would be dead in about 5 seconds. Also true for most of the video games that I play. So then it comes down to TV show or movie. For me, it would have to be Boy Meets World. Like just being under the tutelage of Mr. Feeney and, giving, Corey a run for his money when it comes to Miss Topanga.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm happily married, of course. You see the ring right here. But yeah, for me, it would be Boy Meets World.
The tutelage. That's hilarious.
Nobody has ever known anything more than Mr. Feeney. Mm-hmm. Mr. Feeney is a genius in every regard.
Yeah. I think I talked about this on this show in some other form. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. I think for me, there's a show called The Man in the High Castle. It's also a book.
What?
Do you know what I'm going?
I've never heard of this at all.
What?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. The Man in the High Castle. It's a book. Is also a show on Amazon, I believe. And this is so whack. Okay. The premise is that the Axis powers won World War II. Okay.
Oh, this is what in the...
Hold on.
You would want to go there?
No, listen. This, I'm answering the question. If I got teleported, the premise of the story is that there are a bunch of Americans who are part of the resistance trying to overthrow this regime. I would freaking love that. Like, if some evil overlord took over the United States, sign me up to be part of the resistance. Now I'm in trouble because in the future, they'll use this against me and they'll catch me. But there's a whole lot more to that story. But like, I could see myself in that group, and I think it'd be so much.
out
know
of
if fun's
all
the
the
right
things
word.
in the world,
It's probably not the right answer.
I
but
would
it's the
want to
first
be
thing
in
that-
like a suburban Philadelphia high school, and you want to be fighting Nazis as part of the American resistance.
Let's go, America, USA,
awesome.
baby. I don't know. It's
Good
the first thing
grief.
that came to mind. I think that'd be
No, hey,
that'd be
to
interesting.
each their own.
Hey, someone's got to do it. All right.
Correct.
Let's see. Jam Hot Chicken is good, but what other spots in Central Florida are must goes for food or go tos for food? Here's the thing. I haven't lived in Central Florida in so long. I do have a couple answers though. I know there are some amazing places. I'm sure I'm forgetting. I love Yellow Dog Eats, which is, I think the official address is in Windermere. Yellow Dog Eats is awesome. If I were to go like nostalgic as someone who grew up in Osceola County, this is not a place you take like a date or anything. Like this is just like southern fried food. It's called a Catfish Place, like specialize in catfish and all kinds of, basically all fried seafood. That's where I tried my first fried frog legs and turtle and gator and all that kind of stuff. I freaking love the Catfish Place, man. So again, there's got to be other places. Those are the first, but again, I haven't lived in Central Florida in so long. So those are my first two answers. Do you have any places in Central Florida?
So, unfortunately, I just haven't, like, whenever I'm in Orlando, like, it's 99 out of 100 times it's for business, right? Like, this last weekend, I was there, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I was there for my golf trip, and to nobody's surprise, I went to Jam Hot Chicken, right? Like, the boys had never been, and I wanted to show them how great it was, so Jam Hot Chicken, obviously, that's number one there. But beyond that, a place that I would name, which some people are going to hear this and roll their eyes, but NYPD Pizza in Lake K, like the Universal area. Carmen and I went there years ago when we had first started dating. We were going to Disney and we were looking for somewhere to eat before we went to Disney. And we just happened to like stumble upon this plaza. I think we had to stop for like water, something silly. And there was a Publix right there. And then we're like, hey, well, let's find something to eat in the area. And on the backside of the plaza is this pizza place called NYPD Pizza. And obviously it's like New York style pizza. And the pizza is just fantastic. And it's become a tradition that we would go there like most years. Like we always go to the home opener. And now we go to Jam Hot before the home opener. But we used to go to NYPD Pizza before the opener. And now like whenever we're in that general area and we're looking for something to eat, like we'll always go back there. Very nostalgic. Like they've grown. Like they used to just have one spot of this strip mall, and now they've like broken down the wall, and now they have it's a much bigger area. But the Hawaiian pie there, I always get like the personal. It's like 15 inches or something like that, and I eat the entire thing by myself. And the cannolis there are great. Yeah, for me, the other place would be NYPD Pizza.
Let me interrupt real fast. There is another question later in the list that is also about Jam Hot Chicken, so I wanted to slide it in there. This one comes from DJ Tones on Instagram. It says, what is your go-to Jam Hot Chicken order, Jonathan?
For me, it's the box mild, and I add the cheddar Bob mac and cheese. So if you don't know what the box is, it's you pick your heat level, obviously, which if you're going to Jam Hot, you always go one level below what you would normally go somewhere else. So when I go other places, if I want spicy, I get hot. The equivalent to that at Jam is mild. It's all hot. But so it's chicken tenders chopped up. They have a bed of their seasoned fries, and then they add their vinegar-based coleslaw, their home, like house-made pickles there, and then the tenders with their comeback sauce on the top. And then you can add the cheddar Bob mac and cheese. So they add that to the top. I usually get at least one or two extra comeback sauce and their house-made ranch, and then I get an extra side of pickles. And I put the extra comeback sauce and the ranch in there, and I throw the pickles in there. I mix it all up, and then I just go to town. And then outside of that, I'll usually get a cheer wine or a sweet tea there. Or they've brought back their milkshakes recently. So I've had their vanilla and I've had their cookies and cream. Both of those were absolutely phenomenal. But when I tell you, you go there, there's not a wrong order. You can get whatever you want and have a fantastic experience there. But for me, it's always the box, add cheddar Bob mac and cheese, extra comeback sauce, add ranch, add extra pickles.
Boom. Yeah, the box is the move for me. Depends on what I've got going on during the day. If I need to, have a pleasant rest of the, I don't know, pleasant's the right word. Mild is still hot, folks. That's what I'm getting at. Like, mild is still hot. So sometimes I will get no spice at all, which is still really freaking good. But yeah, Give me those pickles are amazing. The coleslaw is amazing. Yeah, the box is the move. The sandwiches, the sando is great too, but the box for sure.
Next question is from E. Naxted. He says, who would win a death battle between Gandalf and Voldemort? So one thing with these types of questions that you always have to try to keep in mind is like the power scales of these different universes, right? Like I hate the argument of like, you know, who would win in a fight between like Superman and like Darth Vader, right? Because we're talking about two completely different universes here. Like Goku would pretty much defeat almost anybody, like in most like anime. But then when you start talking about comic book characters, I know there are comic book characters that are basically like God level. So I just don't know how to properly address like the power scales between the Harry Potter universe and like the Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien universe. I think I would probably lean towards Gandalf, right? But like Voldemort is like the most powerful, like big baddie in the Harry Potter universe. But he got taken down by a teenager at the end of the day. So I'm probably going to go Gandalf. Gandalf the White, more specifically.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Like, let's not forget, Voldemort was killed, right? Gandalf the Gray wasn't really killed because he came back as Gandalf the White, right? So, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's Gandalf. I'm also a Lord of the Rings guy more than a Harry Potter guy. So, Gandalf gets my vote for sure.
But you do also really enjoy Harry Potter, though.
I wouldn't say I really enjoy it.
Wow.
No, listen.
That's a character flaw.
Listen, no. I enjoy Harry Potter. I've seen all of those movies once and only a couple of them a couple times, like more than once. The Lord of the Rings movies I have seen multiple times. Like there is a gap for me between Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter for sure.
In terms of your affection for them, or like in terms of you just find the Lord of the Rings movies to be way better movies?
I don't know if it's necessarily better. Like,
okay.
I just,
but honestly, I think you could argue both ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, both of those movies won tons and tons of Academy Awards. But for me, like, I was into Harry Potter much younger than I got into Lord of the Rings. But I love both of them. Like, I cannot tell you the thousands of hours that my brother and I put into Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers on PlayStation 2. Like we played that game. I'm pretty sure we wore out that disc. Like we played that ad nauseum.
See, that's the difference.
Awesome,
that's the difference. See, I was in Lord of the Rings super young. I didn't do Harry Potter until an adult, like when I married a Harry Potter fan. So that's probably where the difference is.
Yeah, like the last 3 Harry Potter movies, like I was at the midnight release for those. When Return of the King came out when I was a kid, we went and saw that the night that it came out. So like we did the whole marathon, you know, Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and then that night we went and saw Return of the King. But like I remember reading The Sorcerer's Stone. I was either in first or second grade. So like when the Harry Potter movie, like we knew the Harry Potter movies were coming out. We had seen the trailer, so I read the first book, and then I was obsessed as a kid. That's all I would read constantly. And then like when the movies started to come out, like we always saw them like the opening weekend. Yeah. And now like once a year, I'll get really sick, and I'll just sit down and like over the course of 2 days, I'll just watch all the movies again. Like I just love them so much.
Yep. What were you gonna say?
I forgot who asked the last question, but about this next one. I don't know if I can answer this one.
What, the Indiana Jones one?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll hit this one really quick. From Ultimate Magic 21 says, which Indiana Jones film is the best, and why is it blatantly Temple of Doom? Regardless of what any of you say, why don't you think you can answer that?
I've never seen them.
Not a one?
I've seen like maybe 30 seconds combined.
You're over here talking about character flaws because I slightly like one thing.
Fair. No, that's fair.
You got to at least see the OG. You got to see the original. I will answer this question, which, by the way, we might have to start doing some rapid fire because we are 40-something minutes in. We have a lot more to go. Super quick. Yes, I agree it is the best one. And I will also say, I think the third one, was it the third one where he got into the refrigerator and survived the nuclear blast? That was maybe it was the fourth one. I can't remember now. Quite literally the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Awful film.
Is that
awful.
Like the Crystal Skull or something?
Yeah, I think that was the name of that one. Like genuinely the only movie I think I've seen in theaters that I was like, I think I want my money back. Like, it was so bad. Like, it was really bad. But anyway, yes, the original, like the first and the second one, Indiana Jones, sign me up. I think it was great.
So
anyway,
Indiana Jones. I know there's like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
What's the original?
Raiders of the Lost Ark is the original.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Now that I say it out loud, Raiders of the Lost Ark might be my favorite. I don't know. I think they're both good.
That's the one that I think I've heard the most about is the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
You have to see that. Like, at some point, you need to.
I love the Indiana Jones like show at, it used to be MGM, now it's Hollywood Studios. I love that. Any chance that we're in the area and they have a showtime that we can get into, I love watching that. But next one, what is the best sauce to get your mountain melt tossed in at Ale House? If Luke was on this show, man, we would be laughing right now. Get your mountain melt tossed. That just sounds like something crazy. But thankfully, I know what you're talking about at Miller's Ale House. For me, I always just go like honey barbecue.
I haven't been to Ale House in probably 20 years. I couldn't tell you.
That's a mistake.
Another character flaw. I know. We might have to go next time.
No, I wouldn't say that, but we'll have to make that happen because it's a fantastic establishment.
All right. What moment? Oh, this one's not going to be short. What moment in sports history would you have wanted to see in person? That's from at J Marrero. That is such a good question. Oh, I wish I had seen this one earlier. Do you have an answer off the top of your head while I think, or no?
Maybe like Rashard Lewis, like game winner, game 2.
Non-magic. This is non-magic.
Oh, you're right.
No, of course.
At least
I've got
what
magic
moment sports history. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah, non-magic.
Probably. See, moment is hard because like I would go back to like the 2007 Super Bowl Giants versus the Patriots, but that's not really like a moment. It kind of is, but
yeah.
So if the question was like what game, it would be that. But if I had to have a specific moment, I go back and forth between like the David Tyree helmet catch and then like the wide open Plaxico Burress like corner fade in the end zone, because that's what like really sealed the game. But everybody remembers the helmet catch.
Yeah, the helmet catch was pretty crazy.
Outside of that, it would be the Mario Manningham sideline catch in the 2012 Super Bowl.
Man, if I had to, like, part of me wants to just ignore all my favorite teams. Like, if I were to take all of my favorite teams out of this question, what would I want to see? Like, Michael Jordan's not his last game, but the game 6 for the Bulls, in 98, like his last in Utah, like that would have been crazy to see. I think that
2019 Masters, Tiger winning it, being on the 18th hole for that would be crazy.
Right. I think seeing Vince Young and Reggie Bush go head to head, Texas USC,
the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl in 2000. I don't remember what year that was, 5, 6, something like that. 2005, I think it was. That would be crazy. Yeah, those are like, I'm sure there are other things. Man, that's such a good question. That's my answer for now. I'm sure there's gonna be something I think about.
What
later.
Non-magic moment in sports history would you want to be there for the least?
Non-magic?
For me, it would be Chris Jenkins' game-winning shot Villanova versus North Carolina in the 2017 NCAA championship or 2016 NCAA championship game.
That was pretty epic.
That was when Marcus Page double clutches and hits that 3, because Marcus Page is my favorite Tar Heel of all time.
Yeah.
When he double clutched and hit that 3 to tie the game, because they were down by 9 with like a minute and a half left.
I remember that. Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, we're going to overtime and we're winning the national championship.
Yeah.
And then freaking Richie Archidiakono flips it to Chris Jenkins and he nails the 35-footer.
Never forget.
Fireworks go off. That was non-magic. That is the most painful sports moment of my life.
Yeah. It'd probably be a Florida State thing. The game against Oregon in 2014 in the very first playoff, which is the closest blowout in college sports history, if you ask me.
It wouldn't be your boy, what was it, Jordan Travis going down?
No, I mean that sucked, but I don't.
Do you think if he's healthy, you guys win the national championship?
I don't know that we win the national championship, but I think we probably win the semifinal and make it to the championship.
You're definitely in the playoff. We know that for sure.
Of course, they've said that. They're a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
Screw those
sorry,
guys.
I didn't mean to rile you up.
Yeah, that's okay. I think I asked that one. You want to ask the next one? Pick one.
F. Killy Leah asks, what is your handicap and favorite club in the bag? I think this is for me, not for Kevin.
Yeah, not for me.
Right now, my handicap is 30. I'm not proud to say that. I genuinely do believe that I'm a better golfer than my handicap says. Right now, I just still have like 1 to 2 absolute blow up holes each round. I think I'm probably closer to like a 27 or maybe a 25, which I know again is not all that impressive. I've only been playing a year. But right now, like if you told me that like you just have to hit a really good shot with this club, any club in my bag, I'm probably gonna pull my 8-iron. That's just the club that like it's long enough that it's still fun to hit because I can get 140, 150 yards out of it. So if you hit a good shot, it's like still feels really impressive. But it's short enough that I'm still confident that I can hit it really well.
Yep. I've never played a game of golf in my life, so I have no idea. Next, Magath Alex says Marvel or DC. I'm definitely Marvel, but again, I'm not a huge comic guy. I just go based off the movies, and the Marvel movies are a million times better than DC movies. So I know you're a little bit different necessarily in that. What do you think?
No, I'm gonna go Marvel as well. Okay. I don't know what it is. Like I was never big into like the Justice League as a kid, like the animated series. I loved like Batman the animated series. I loved Batman Beyond the animated series. Like the black and red suit. I always thought that was really awesome. But like ever since Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man came out, when I was 9 years old, Spider-Man's always been my guy. And the MCU run from like, Iron Man through Endgame, I just think is so much better than anything we've ever seen from DC. It's really hard for me to go DC, but there are a lot of like DC like areas of content that I really like. For example, what was the show that came out? I think it was Titans. Maybe it came out on HBO or
Teen Titans.
No, it was actually. It is of the Teen Titans, but it's them like grown up.
Yeah.
And it was a much more like darker like iteration of that, and I thought that was really good. But yeah, for me, it's definitely Marvel. Next one. What are your guys' taste in music? Top 3 albums of all time. So we kind of got this question. I think it was asked like top 5 and top 3. But we just sort of shortened it to 3. But Ross Holder 83 and Josh W both asked these questions. Top 3 albums of all time. So basically, I don't know if these I'm just coming at this of like if I had to listen to 3 albums for the rest of my life, what would those albums be? Number 1 for me would probably be Jon Bellion, Glory Sound Prep. Jon Bellion's my favorite artist of all time. I think that album is pretty much perfect. Second would probably be Kanye West, College Dropout. That's my favorite hip hop album of all time. I feel like it's pretty much flawless. Number 3, I'm just gonna say what my favorite album is right now that I can't stop listening to, and I think it's gonna be a pretty timeless album for me. It's Luke Combs' newest album, Fathers and Sons. It came out on Father's Day. And because I'm so much like in the trenches of fatherhood right now, like I listened to that everywhere we drove on Father's Day, the day that it came out. And I cried like a baby the entire day, just like being with my kids. And like, I can't even listen to that album now without getting like super emotional. But it also reminds me of like my dad, like when I was a kid. Like there's a song called My Old Man Was Right. And like, it's just about growing up and thinking that you know everything. And as you get older, you realize that your father was right about a lot of things. Yeah. And I know that, there comes a time in every kid's life where for 12 years, they just think their dad is an absolute idiot. And I know I'm going to go through that with my kids. So yeah, that's what I would say right now. Glory Sound Prep, Jon Bellion, College Dropout, Kanye West, and Fathers and Sons by Luke Combs.
As far as like taste in music was the other part of the question. I'm open for everything, except
I'm all over the place. Yep.
Except I don't do that twangy country stuff. Some of that modern stuff is fine, but like that twangy stuff, like beer on the porch with my Ford truck, like no,
dude,
I can't. I cannot handle that. No, I cannot handle that. For me, top 3 albums. It's such a moving target. Just off the top of my head here, I would say, Coldplay is my favorite, like timeless, like band of all time, like big band, like huge name. So Coldplay, this is controversial. I'd pick Milo Xyloto as my favorite. They have a lot of older albums that Coldplay heads would like totally just crucify me if I said that. But yeah, I'd say Milo Xyloto. It's got a balance. It's got a whole bunch of everything. My favorite individual artist of all time and my favorite musical artist right now is Jacob Collier. I mean, if I had to pick one of his albums, it'd probably be In My Room, but all of his like Jesse's are so good. Like, he's got Jesse Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 now. Amazing. And then if I had to pick like a nostalgic, like timeless one for me, it'd be Switchfoot, Beautiful Letdown. Like that album. I just grew up on that album, and I still listen to it from time to time. So yeah, those are my three.
I knew Jacob Collier was going to get thrown in there at some point.
I mean, the dude, and part of that is like, if I have to listen to it forever, you can listen to it a million times and you'll find something new every time. He's like a musician's musician, and he's awesome.
Okay. That album by Switchfoot, is that the album that Meant to Live was on?
It is, yes.
John Bellion did a cover of that song.
He did, yes, on Switchfoot's anniversary. Anniversary of that album, just earlier this year or last year, something like that. Okay, what is the best type of fry? Now, this is a great question. Yeah. Curly, waffle, crinkle, shoestring, etc. This comes from Keith Manns. If I am going to, like, what kind of fry would I just eat? You know, a small, medium, large fry. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be curly fry. Thank you. Arby's, like, dude, give me that.
Yes, baby.
However, the asterisk being, if I'm going to eat a lot of fries, like a lot of curly fries will wreck me. That's probably the greasiest fry in this list. If I have to eat a ton of fries, like give me Chick-fil-A waffle fries, I could down multiple large Chick-fil-A waffle fries and feel great. But like if I've got a stack of, you know, all these medium fries in front of me, I'm grabbing the curly fry first.
See, I'm more of like, I'm going to eat what I want now and deal with the consequences later. Yeah. So I'm Arby's curly fries all day. Yeah. Now, a close second to me would be Checkers seasoned fries, but those arguably are worse, like, to me after the fact than the Arby's fries. Shoestring can just get thrown out of the window. Like, shoestring,
I don't mind shoestring.
Are absolutely garbage. Can't do it. I do enjoy a nice, you know, or Ida crinkle cut, you know, fry that, you know, if we're having burgers or something, the house will throw some of those in the air fryer. But yeah, the Arby's curly fry for me is like the epitome. I mean, I also throw like the Jam hot seasoned fries up there as well. Those are phenomenal. I know that we talk about Jam a lot, but like they really are so good. Yeah. Like they're just awesome. Okay. What are your favorite non-basketball sports teams? What are your favorite non-sports related hobbies? This is from Janine. So my favorite non-basketball sports team. So I root for the University of North Carolina when it comes to like any collegiate sport. Even though I do follow the college basketball, but I don't follow the football as closely, and like baseball and obviously all the other collegiate sports as closely. But anything the University of North Carolina. When it comes to professional football, it's the New York Football Giants. Baseball, it is the New York Yankees. For anybody that doesn't know, I was born in New Jersey, so a lot of my family still has ties like to that area and to those sports teams. I dabble in the English Premier League, so the team that I follow the closest there would be Manchester United. I'm trying to think. Obviously, we talked about our Richmond Tigers, you know, and you know, Aussie rules football there. Who else do I root for? I mean, as far as teams go, those are really the only teams that I follow.
Yep. For me, it's all Central Florida and Tampa, you know, sports, the Orlando Magic, Tampa Bay Bucks, Rays, Lightning, Florida State for college. I do not dabble in the Premier League. I breathe Arsenal football. So I'm a huge Arsenal guy who
Come on,
also
you Gunners.
Did beat Manchester United last night in a friendly. I'm just saying. But yeah, so those are. I think I covered Orlando City also. Yeah, I think I covered everybody. So that's that.
And then non-sports related hobbies for me, it's like really just video games, and even those video games usually have something to do with sports. Watching anime, and then like my biggest other hobby is golf, so it's, you know, it's kind of related to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, there's not a whole lot outside of sports. Yeah, sometimes play video games, not as much as I used to. Yeah, pretty much just chill, watch some shows and stuff maybe from time to time. Speaking of which, this one is specifically for Jonathan, because it says, would you rather binge watch Boy Meets World for 10 hours or play the new College Football 25 for 10 hours? That's from TL49er Magic 23. Because I know my answer is very easy, but what would you choose?
if I had to do something for 10 straight hours, it would be Boy Meets World. I can turn on Boy Meets World any time of any day, just be like completely enthralled by it, laugh at all of the dumb jokes that I've laughed at 500 times, get emotional at the parts that I've gotten emotional at 500 times. Like if you said, hey, you have to do this for 10 hours, do that. When it comes to College Football 25, usually after about like 3 hours, I need a break. So doing that for 10 straight hours, I think would be tough. 10 hours of Boy Meets World, that's like 25 to 30 episodes. I could easily do that. As long as I'm fed and, I could use the facilities. Yeah, sign me up for that. Next one from Jazzo Best is, what is your favorite movie of all time? For me, it's Good Will Hunting. I love that movie so much. It's hilarious. It's sad. So many great actors in that movie. Minnie Driver, Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Robin Williams. If you've never seen Good Will Hunting, you have to watch it at least once. Everybody that I've ever talked to that hasn't seen it, they text me right after, like, this movie is amazing. So, Good Will Hunting is my favorite movie of all time.
I'm not a huge movie guy. We've talked about this before. So I can't, there's a bunch of classics I've never seen, but how I always judge this is like, if I'm scrolling through TV and it's on TV, what will I stop scrolling and watch? For me, the original Space Jam.
Yeah.
Call me lame. I'm stopping every time. Like, I'm stopping what I'm doing. I'm watching that. Any of those Lord of the Rings movies we talked about. Most of that Marvel run we talked about earlier, from Iron Man to Endgame. Golly, that's, to me, that's like some of the best like eras of like chunk of movies. That whole era was crazy, but Endgame was amazing. I'm sure there are other ones out there that I'm not thinking of, but yeah. I also have a weird thing where I don't really rewatch movies. Like I said, there are very few movies I've gone back and rewatched, and so I don't know. Those are some of my first reactions there to that. All right, Davey J says top 3 holiday destinations outside the U.S. Well, I mean, I've gone on like cruises.
Well, I read it as like, if you could go anywhere, where would it be?
Okay. Not places you have been.
Yeah.
Okay. I would probably pick, there's a lot of places in Europe. If I had to specify, again, this is tied to sports, but I have to go see Arsenal play, like, at the Emirates. Like, that, to me, that is just like the top thing. And obviously, once you go to London, there's a lot of other things you can do, not just in London, but in the UK, or, go across the Channel or whatever and go other places. But,
get on the tube.
Yeah. Top 3 though. Outside of that, I don't care. Honestly, I just want to go to Europe and go to every major, soccer/football venue. That's my dream trip.
For me, I've always wanted to go to Italy. Just all of the history there, the culture, the food, obviously, the views, like the Amalfi Coast, like all of those like Mediterranean, like coastal towns. Like I just find that so unbelievably beautiful. Outside of that, I love to go to Tokyo. Just a lot of it just looks amazing, and obviously like the anime culture. I know that sounds kind of dumb. I don't even honestly know that much about Tokyo, but to be honest, I don't think about traveling all that much. Outside of that, it would either be Scotland, because I have family there because of my stepmom. So I have like a lot of stepsisters and step grandparents over there. But also a place that I didn't even know existed until about a year ago is Banff in Canada. I don't want to speak. I don't want to be incorrect on which province it's a part of. But it's just like the most beautiful, like the most wilderness thing you could ever imagine. It's just unbelievably beautiful. Like it doesn't even look real. It is so beautiful. So that would be it for me. But on the other side, like if you were talking about like what are your favorite 3 places that you've been, the only place that I've been is Mexico outside of the US, and it was Cancun for half a day on a cruise.
Yeah.
So I can't give you 3 there. This next one for me is really easy. It says, would you rather live your life with 2 left hands or 2 left feet? I'm left-handed, so give me 2 left hands. I would be totally fine with that.
I'm right-handed, and give me 2 left hands. I feel like I could figure out the 2 left feet eventually, but the back, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would take my 2 left feet Yeah, I got that backwards. I would take my 2 left feet. That's what I would take.
Okay.
I want both of these hands. I could figure out the 2 left feet thing, I think, pretty quickly.
Right.
Oh, it's me. Sorry. Who would win in a fight between the T-Rex in Jurassic Park and Sharptooth from The Land Before Time? This is from our friend Garrett. To me, it's the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, but only because like I only watched like the first Land Before Time. I don't know all the other like the 7 million other ones. And Sharptooth is a cartoon. Like I just can't take a cartoon that seriously versus like I know Jurassic Park, but he looked more menacing to me.
So yeah, I do remember watching the Land Before Time movies as a kid, and I remember them being awesome. And I obviously everybody's seen Jurassic Park. I just have such like a visceral like memory. Like when I haven't even heard the name Sharptooth in probably 20 years. And when I read it, I shuddered because that name was like, because I remember all of the characters of Land Before Time just being so terrified of Sharptooth. It's like you're watching Jurassic Park from the perspective of the humans. And I can understand a human being afraid of a T-Rex. But when all of the other massive dinosaurs are terrified of Sharptooth, and Land Before Time, like they're all, young children aged dinosaurs. I don't know, man. I think Sharptooth would have a real chance there. All right. Eric in Vegas has another one here. Favorite fast food go-to? For me, it's Wendy's. Part of it is because I've eaten everything on their menu 5 million times. My wife used to be a general manager for a Wendy's.
I didn't know that.
So like getting like one of the biggest perks to me, maybe not the biggest perks, but one of the like things that I was actually legitimately really excited about when we started dating is that I got free Wendy's whenever I wanted. Like all the time she would bring me Wendy's. But I just think that Wendy's, of all of the fast food places, has one of the most diverse menus. Their food is almost always hot and fresh. And like rarely do I have a meal at Wendy's and I'm like, oh, that didn't hit the spot. Like every time I had Wendy's last night at like 10:30 p.m. and it was fantastic. So for me, I'd go Wendy's.
Yeah, this is a little bit of gray area here because Chick-fil-A considers themselves quick service, not fast food.
They're fast food.
But if you're going to lump them in there, I would say Chick-fil-A because that's the
fair.
one I have the most. I just love Chick-fil-A. Always consistent, always good.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here as quick as we can because we're already an hour plus into this episode. We're going to give a quick shout out to our patrons. If you like what we do here, if you hate this episode, I'm sorry. We don't normally do this. Usually we're talking only about the Orlando Magic. And if you'd like to support us at all financially, you can find us at patreon.com/the6man show. We shout out our Hall of Fame and Elite Tier patrons each and every episode. Let me go ahead and start with the Court Cousins: Drew Gooden, Armin, Carson Tulo, Ellis, Jonathan Borges, Normal Magic Player History, Gabe Gaines, Wiffle, Michael Martin, Jamel Miller, Michael Salapong, Donkey Punch, Dave, Paolo and Franz Born, Pierre A, Dylan Holden, Mr. Mikey, Eduardo Sanchez, Daniel, Bobby Skinner, Goody 93, Teddy Sylvia, Doc Lopez, Fuchsia, Bill Fulton, Edmund Lagone, Jose Esquilin, Caleb Pete, Cannibalism, Time Mr. TV, ESPN Really Sucks, Gear 95, Shred, Junior Barus, Half Rican, Shahin 177, Bobby the Don, Himlo, Ben Himro, RM Prof 221, Ray Pastrana, Magic Kid 714, Mysterious Mosley, Irish Magic Mike, Austin Lampe, Random Hustle, Only Franz Maria, Keith Wallace, Fritz, Bruv Sal, Casey Green, Santi Leon, Kane Eckler, The Distract, Ahmad Tim Chantu, Tom Gatson, Dead Air, Richard Tuttle, Jeremiah Quintero, Magic Wired, Evo 1980, Magic Matt, Michael Thompson, Mama Richmond, Next Snapple, What's Up Playa 2024, Dylan Fay, David Duffy, Smith Chic, Ship Sinks, Bueno Time, Stantino 1995, Suggs Muggs, Daniel Anderson, Barry McElcaney, Will Spivey. Again, find us at patreon.com/the6man-show.
All right, Jonathan, believe it or not, all of those were from Twitter. Now we have Instagram.
I was worried when we first did this that we wouldn't have enough, and we definitely have enough.
We definitely have enough. And the thing is, there were very few exceptions, but we said we're going to go through all of these. And so, by golly, we're going to do it. We're going to go a little more rapid fire. We're going to speed it up a little bit. We're going to try to hit all these Instagram questions. Here we go. Brett and Butter 091 says, favorite weeknight dinner. Like if you're saying like me at the house, like by myself, I'm really lame. I'm really simple. Give me a sandwich. I love a good sandwich, but not like a boring sandwich. Like make the sandwich freaking good. I love a good sandwich. Or again, also very lame. My comfort food in life is cereal. And we're going to talk about cereal in a second because there's a really good cereal question later, but that's my comfort food. I literally have a bowl of cereal every single night. And half of the mornings I have a bowl of cereal. So give me those two things.
For me, I always joke that had I known that my wife was going to develop into as good of a cook as she has, that I would have asked her to marry me sooner. Because neither of us could cook when we got married. And she has just gotten so unbelievably, ridiculously good at cooking. Like anything my wife makes is usually fantastic. There are a couple of things that I really love that she makes. One is ropa vieja, which is this like Puerto Rican like beef stew almost, I guess is the best way to explain it, over like white rice with like red beans and plátanos. Outside of that, I love a good bone-in ribeye. So like I'll take that out, let it warm up to room temperature, dry it off, season it with this Kinder's like chopped house butter seasoning, I think it's what it's called, and then throw it on the grill. And then like, usually for like Father's Day, Carmen will do that and she'll make me a nice lobster tail. So like that's not exactly a weeknight dinner, but I guess this is like home cooked, kind of thing. But anything my wife makes, really. Next, this is from N Anuba. What do you think about Brazilian night, and do you like samba? To be honest, I don't really know what classifies as samba. I'm sure anything with a good beat that I can dance to, I will enjoy. And what do I think about the Brazilian night? I think Brazilian night is awesome. I think it's really great that the Magic have such a large contingent of Brazilian fans. If I'm not mistaken, out of the NBA teams, I'm pretty sure the Magic have like the largest Brazilian fan base out of all of the NBA teams. So I love our Brazilian fans. I love when they have the ability to be there with us at Kia. And I probably like samba, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, sign me up for Brazilian night. I think it's great. Like you said, we have a huge Brazilian fan base, both the Orlando Magic and Orlando City. So yeah, I think it's awesome. All right, this one was from @__ Nathan __ says, get to know y'all. Give us something we might not know about y'all.
We don't have enough time.
Something you don't know about. I feel like people are getting to know us pretty well with these questions.
I'll tell you guys, there's a lot you don't know about Kevin.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. What do they not know about me? What would we do this for
I
each
think
other?
we've talked about like the Microsoft Simulator a lot. Something that like probably comes off on the podcast episodes, but we may not have said like explicitly. Kevin is very, very strong-willed and very opinionated. Like when Kevin believes something, I promise you, there is nothing you can do to change his mind.
Sometimes that's true.
For better or worse.
Yeah, that's true.
For better or worse.
Sometimes that's true. What do you, I like that. I decided we're going to flip this on each other. What do people not know about Jonathan? I would say Jonathan, and well, this does come through in the podcast, but it's not just true about the Magic. It's true about everything in life. Jonathan is one of the most passionate people I know. Like when his heart is in something, it is like in it 100%. Also for better or worse.
Correct.
But
is correct.
I mean, the dude, when the dude loves something, he is all in 100%. Whether that is Magic, whether that is golf, he's in his golf era right now, and so he's all in. It's his faith. Take your pick. The dude's very passionate. So I like that we flipped that on each other and answered that for each other.
The other thing that I want people to know about me that they might not know is that I love musicals. That is my guilty pleasure. I know I'm saying that, and there's potentially a few thousand people that are going to hear that, but don't tell anybody.
I'm a huge fan of musicals as well. Yeah. So we'll have to celebrate our favorite musicals together.
This next one is from Beast Mode Ryan _26. What do you and Kevin do for your day jobs? My answer is really boring. I work for a software company. We deal with associations that have like membership. So it's like association management software. And I just help onboard our new clients. Our new clients, they go through trainings. And then I essentially work as like a consultant to see like what questions do they have after they've completed their training. It is really boring.
Gotcha. I work in the live event industry. So think like audio, video, lighting for events. Specifically, I am an event producer or show caller, as it were. My day job is at a large church here in town. So I am the producer and show caller for basically our services and any special events that we do. But also I do freelance and contract for other events. Not as much as I used to, but I used to do events and stuff all over the country, whether that's like conferences, seminars, award shows, concerts, those kinds of things. If you're at a good live event, they have a producer or a show caller behind it that makes it all happen. And so that's what I do.
And Kevin's skills in that were like directly translatable to what we do here. So like if you've been and you see us with like a mobile rig recording or like doing any kind of like live event stuff, Kevin is the brains and the muscle behind all of that.
It has worked out pretty well. This is for Jonathan. Favorite golf course you? Well, actually, it could be for me because I do play the Masters game on Xbox.
Yeah, there you go.
No, favorite golf course you've played, and what are you working on in the game /swing? This is from Me Doing Work. I think is how you say that. Yeah. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah. So of the course that I've played recently, that is like if I had to play one course, like if I had to pick all the courses that I've played, which I think is like 16 or 17 courses at this point. If I had to pick like one course to play over and over out of the ones that I played, it would be Panther Lake at Orange County National. Outside of Orlando, it's just a wonderful facility. Great groundskeeping crew there. Like if you make a divot or you're in a bunker, like they're fixing it before you're even out of it a lot of the times. And it's just a beautiful, challenging golf course. It's just like visually stunning as well. But my favorite course right now to play on a regular basis is a course in Wesley Chapel. It's called Lexington Oaks. It's challenging, really, really good condition. And then what am I working on right now in my swing? Right now I'm working on my takeaway to make sure that I don't really have like too far of a inside like takeaway, like because I have a tendency to like flip my hands or like my elbow will get caught on my downswing. So that's what I'm working on now. But my golf swing needs so much work. I'm literally always working on everything. This is from Caleb Baker. He says, top 3 holiday cities you visited and what stood out to you the most? Top 3 holiday cities. I mean, New York City, I've sort of already talked about that. I haven't been to a ton of other like destination cities. One city that I have spent, a few different weekends in would be Atlanta. So I think Atlanta is really cool. There's a lot to do there. There, obviously Hawks games or Magic games that you can go to when they're playing the Hawks. There's tons of places there to eat. Outside of that, I don't know. I mean, I grew up in Tampa, been to Orlando a bunch of times, so I don't count those as like holiday cities. The only other place that I've been on holiday would be like Charlotte, and Charlotte wasn't that great. We had fun, but the city itself was not my favorite. What about you, Kev?
Yeah, we already talked about Yosemite. That's still my favorite. I've been in New York several times, but the actual time that I went not for work, but went for pleasure, was a really fun trip because it was like totally spur of the moment. Like that was back when I lived 5 hours away from New York. Me and my wife, before we had kids, were just like, we had a couple of days off. We're like, do you want to just go to New York? And so we did. Like the morning we decided we're going to New York, and we went and saw Jimmy Fallon and the Today Show and all kinds of other stuff. It was really fun. Outside of that, I mean,
Charlotte.
No, not Charlotte. I lived in Charlotte for a summer. So, I spent a summer in Bogota in Colombia. Again, it wasn't really a holiday, but I did have some time off there. That was amazing. Yeah, probably that. This is from Carmen. I don't know if you know Carmen, Jonathan. Just kidding. That's Jonathan's wife. She said, if you could rewatch any movie for the first time, what would it be? Ooh. Do you have an answer right off the top of your head, Jonathan?
For me, it's more so it has to do with like the viewing experience that I had. So when I saw No Way Home, almost 2 years ago now, like the most recent Tom Holland Spider-Man movie with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and all of that, like watching that with like 200 people was just so awesome. When you first see Andrew Garfield, then when you see Tobey Maguire. And then if you know anything about the other movies with those actors, when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man catches Zendaya from like sudden death falling, which is like a direct callback to like Gwen Stacy dying in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, like the way that like theater erupted, to me, like just because of the nostalgia and growing up, was even cooler than all the stuff that happened with like, Infinity War and Endgame and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it would be like seeing that movie in the theaters with 200 other people that have never seen it before. It would be that again.
See, to me, it's the same idea as the experience, but it actually is Endgame. Like that moment with the hammer and that room. Like I saw it midnight premiere. Like when that hammer, like when he oh my gosh, that room. If I could go back and experience that again, that was like a sporting event. Like in some ways, like yeah, it was awesome.
I think I mentioned it on the pod before, but that moment was spoiled for me on Twitter.
I remember you
before
saying
I
that.
saw that. So like, I think I might feel differently about that, but because I knew that it was coming, I didn't get that like emotional payoff
worst.
at all.
That is the worst.
I'll never forgive JD Ramirez for that. Yeah.
I still sometimes, there are obviously videos on YouTube of like the live reaction in the theater of that. And I'll still sometimes go back and watch it just for that experience. It was awesome.
This next one is from our boy Matty World Peace. If you could only eat one dessert for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? For me, it would be creme brulee. I just love like the caramelized top to that, and just like the flavors and like the custardy like texture of that. It would be creme brulee.
Forever. Texture. I don't know if I could do that texture forever. I think it's good. I love
custard. Like custard, flan, all of that.
Right.
I love that texture.
I like it too. I just don't know if I can do it forever. This is tough. Party wants to go with something, fruity, like a good, I don't know. But I think for me, it's just chocolate chip cookie. Like, give me a chocolate chip cookie forever. Like, that's just a classic. I think it's great. I had 2 of them today, as a matter of fact, large ones, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Which theme park is superior, Disney or Universal, or a third option? 3 of you asked this question. I'm more of a Disney guy. I think Universal is cool, but I'm just not a huge like thrill ride guy. I've never have been. Part of it is I have heart problems, and so I've never been one to. I try to keep my heart rate down and not go crazy. But yeah, so I'm more of a Disney person anyway, just for the experience. And yeah, I'd say Disney.
Are you going to test that at all after your surgery?
No.
You're not going to like, are there things that you wish you could have done that you've just never done because of that?
Play organized sports. Yes. That is what I wish I could have done.
You're not going to start that at 32, 33 years old?
Maybe. We'll see what kind of shape I can get in after the surgery. But yeah.
That's awesome. For me, it's probably just going to be Disney. I spent way more time at the Disney parks than I have Universal. I think Universal is great. I'm not trying to discredit how awesome Universal is at all. But to my knowledge, Universal doesn't have anything like the World Showcase at Epcot, where you can just eat around the world and all the food is absolutely fantastic. And that's really my favorite thing to do at Disney. So I'd probably go Disney. Yeah. WNBA fans at all? If so, who's your team? With the new growth, do you think they bring a team back to the O? So like a lot of people, I definitely have become more interested in the WNBA over the course of the last several years. For me, my favorite player to watch is Marine Johannes. She plays for the French national team, but she also plays for the New York Liberty, and the New York Liberty also have Sabrina Ionescu and Brittany Stewart. So they're very good, and they have been very good for years. So if I'm looking to keep tabs on a team, usually it is the New York Liberty. If the Orlando Magic, well, not the Orlando Magic, but if Orlando brought back the Orlando Miracle, then I would be a massive Miracle fan. I do think probably eventually the Orlando gets a WNBA team, because I think over the course of the next 10 years, I think if you were to say the popularity is going to double or triple, I don't even think that's doing it justice. Like I really think they have a chance like 10x in popularity over the course of the next 10 to 20 years. So I would think that at some point we get a team back in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm not going to front here. Like, if you ask me if I'm a WNBA fan, I would say like I enjoy it, but I certainly wouldn't say I keep up with it. Like, yeah,
right, that's fair.
I'll check in during the playoffs and all that stuff, but I would never say I'm sitting here watching it every night. Like when I say I'm an NBA fan, I can't also, like, to me, it's just not the same thing. But if I were to pick a team, I would say a Fever person before Caitlin Clark thing. I lived in Indy for 4 years, and so I have a little bit of a affinity to that city and stuff. But yeah, if the Orlando Miracle came back, sign me up. I would definitely be more of a fan, I would say, than I am now. What were each of your guys' dream jobs growing up when you were kids? This is from not Champagne Poppy, but Champagne Poppy Rael. Dream job growing up. My original dream job was to be the guy that hangs off the back of the trash truck and like grabs I originally wanted to do that when I was really little. But as I got older, my dream job has still never changed. I want David Steele's job when he retires. That's not going to happen. But to be able to be the play-by-play guy for the Magic, that would be amazing. You're courtside in most buildings, courtside for every Magic moment. Are you kidding me? You get to talk about it for a living. That's amazing. That would be my dream.
So for me, if we're going back to like way back when I was a young kid, my dad was a assistant store manager at Home Depot when I was a kid. So I wanted to work at Home Depot. Every kid wants to, usually do like something that their dad does, right? But outside of that, like from the point where like you would actually like write down in school like what your dream job was, it was like when I was really little and I played baseball, it was playing for the Yankees. But like for the large majority of my childhood, my dream was to play for the Orlando Magic. And I would be outside every single day in the summer shooting hoops on my crappy little basketball hoop, envisioning that I was hitting the game-winning shot for the Magic in the NBA Finals.
It's not too late, Jonathan.
No, it's too late. It is. Trust me. I've had the privilege of running up and down that floor and that was really cool because like I've always dreamed of playing on this floor as a kid under different circumstances.
Right.
But getting to live that out, it was never more clear that was never going to happen for me. But yeah. Next one is from Brendan J89. Favorite non-basketball Olympic event and why? I really enjoy the water sports. I think water polo is awesome to watch. It's similar, spacing to basketball, soccer, hockey, right? Because you have the goal, on one end of the floor. And just like the passing and the movement and the fact that they're like swimming and like basically treading water the entire time they're doing that. And it's also like the handball element, right? Where like they throw that ball, you have no idea where it's going. I've just like literally me and my friends when we were kids, when the Olympics were on in the summers, we would take his soccer goal, put it outside of the pool, and we would play water polo. So yeah, I think water polo is awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say handball. I think taking out like soccer, which I know it's an Olympic sport, but I mean, take that out. You mentioned taking basketball out. It'd probably be handball just because it's obscure. And in the United States, it's not around except for the Olympics, which I think is a crime. I think the United States could put together a really good handball team if we like dedicated some resources to it. But yeah, I think handball is so fun to watch. Again, similar reasons because it is so much like basketball. Luis Rosario also asked what we both did for work. I missed that earlier when we were combining these, so we already answered that one. And this one is my favorite question of the day from Joko Dalokokoko. It says, name your Mount Rushmore of cereal. As I mentioned earlier, I am a cereal aficionado. I've had a bowl of cereal a day for probably 24 years, like since I was like first grade. Like I literally, it's borderline addiction. Like I have problems sleeping if I don't have it before I go to bed. If I had to do Mount Rushmore, my absolute favorites would be Life cereal. Whether it's regular cinnamon, take your pick. I don't care. My favorite Cheerio is Frosted Cheerios because how it makes the milk taste. The milk is amazing after Frosted Cheerios, which is awesome. I'll get crucified if I don't say Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so I'll put that in there. I think it's a good like dessert cereal, but I wouldn't have it every night. And then if I need one with fruit in it. It's either Raisin Bran or Special K with red berries. I'm going to go Raisin Bran, which is also very lame and old man of me. But like those first two are in a different tier to me, like Life cereal and then Frosted Cheerios. That's like my go-to for sure.
Yeah, this is tough. I definitely go for more of the like sugary, like dessert cereals. I don't eat cereal a ton. Like if I have 2 bowls of cereal in a week, that's like I'm above my average, I would say.
Sad.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a staple in our house. It has been my entire life. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is up there. Reese's Puff cereal. It's just so nostalgic for me. Honey Nut Cheerios. Absolute classic, makes the milk taste incredible, obviously. And the fourth, I would really have a hard time deciding. Like it could be Honeycombs, it could be Cookie Crisp, it could be Lucky Charms, it could be Fruit Loops, it could be Captain Crunch Berries. Like it could be a number of those. But those top 3 I feel pretty strongly about.
Yep. I'm sorry, I just have to go back. I definitely would put Frosted Mini Wheats in mine. I'd probably
that's Carmen's favorite cereal.
Yeah, I'd probably actually take out Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which I know that gets rid of my dessert option. But man, I just love Frosted Mini Wheats, and it's good.
They are good.
It's filling.
I was not a fan of them, but Carmen put me on, and they are very good. Yeah, I also love Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
Next, favorite NHL teams and favorite player if you follow hockey. This is from Nick DD9494. That was my one omission earlier. We were talking about sports teams outside of basketball. It's hard for me to follow the Lightning as much as I would like to, simply because it is so parallel to basketball season. If I were to watch, all the Magic games that I do, and even if I were to watch 20 Lightning games a year, like I would be divorced. I would never have time to see my wife on any given night of the week. But I do love the Lightning. I didn't get into hockey until 2015, the year that they went to the Stanley Cup and lost to the Blackhawks. But I've followed like outside of like the New York Giants and like Tar Heel basketball, I've probably followed Lightning hockey as closely as anything else. So definitely the Lightning. My favorite player on the Lightning is probably Braden Point. I just find like his style of play like really awesome. If you would have asked me a few weeks ago, probably would have said Steven Stamkos. I might come back to that, but that's just too new and too fresh and too painful.
Yeah, also a Lightning fan. Same thing. If the Magic didn't exist, there's a chance that I would be like the Lightning would be my favorite team, like of American sports, because I feel like I would watch the Lightning like probably as much as, if not more than my other favorite teams. Because I really genuinely love hockey. I love the NHL. Hockey playoffs are the best in American sports, if you ask me. I think they're so fun. Favorite player? I'm picking like a current Lightning player. It'd probably be Victor Hedman. As far as like past Lightning players, though, I have a special affinity for three guys in particular, plus John Cooper. So, like I mentioned, when I moved away from Central Florida after my sophomore year of high school, or my freshman year of high school, I moved to Virginia, and the local team there was the Norfolk Admirals, which at the time were the affiliate of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And so I got to see Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson, and Alex Killorn.
Ooh, I was trying to guess the three in my head, and I was dead on.
Coached by John Cooper in Norfolk for the Norfolk Admirals. They were there for several seasons that ended up culminating in 2011, I want to say, when they won the Calder Cup. They, I think it's still true. At the time, though, it was the longest winning streak in professional hockey history with that team. It was a super, super special team. And so to then see those three guys plus John Cooper end up with my favorite NHL team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then ultimately win back-to-back cups was like the coolest thing ever. So like all time, my favorite hockey player is Tyler Johnson, because he was in that group. He was undersized, always, found a way to just advance to the next level, ended up being a really major contributor on an amazing Tampa Bay Lightning team.
Do I remember correctly? He had like a game winner against the Red Wings in the 2015 playoffs. Like that series, that Red Wings series is what got me into hockey. Yeah. I was at one of my best friend's house, and I had never been into, obviously everyone has seen hockey. I'd never been to a game, but he turned it on. And like, again, the spacing like in the zone is so similar to basketball. And then just like the speed and the physicality of the game, I was just hooked immediately. And something that doesn't get talked about enough is John Cooper winning with those guys, bringing so many of them with him to the Lightning, and then being able to win again. Like that is just something that doesn't get talked about enough.
Special group for sure. Yeah. And so it was cool. Like in 2015, I had just watched those guys, some of them 3 years earlier, in a tiny 7,000 seat arena in Norfolk, Virginia. And I would get like glass seats. Like I would see them like face to face. And so to see them move on and do that was just the coolest thing ever. This is from Instigator 514, says, are y'all going to Universal's Epic Universe next year when it opens? I definitely plan to go. I don't know how early I'll go after it opens, but sometime in the first year that it opens, I'm 100% going to go. Like I wouldn't miss that for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to go. All the stuff that I've seen looks amazing, but I just really don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen next year. But like eventually, I'm also one of those things that's like I want to let the crowd like die down before. I didn't go to like the Harry Potter world for like 5 years, like once that had opened, because I just knew it was going to be crazy. But yeah, I definitely want to go to that. This one, I guess the anime character that this is from Carson Tulo. Which anime character do you relate to the most and why? Kevin would be Goku because it's the only one that he knows. For me, which anime character do I relate to the most and why? For me, it would most likely be Itachi Uchiha, just because I've always had a soft spot for my little brother and like just was always like very protective of him. And that is a very convoluted story. So like if you have not finished Naruto and you just started, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. That guy murdered his entire family. That's ultimately not why I really relate to that character. If you've seen the entire series, Naruto and Shippuden, and you've finished like the Sasuke, Itachi story, then that'll make a little bit more sense to you. But for me, it would be Itachi Uchiha.
Okay, this one is sorry. What is one topping that doesn't belong on a hot dog? This is from 23VM Bacon. Maybe this is a hot take. I don't know. If you ask me, there is no such thing as a topping that doesn't belong on a hot dog. I'm a firm believer in all kinds of different hot dogs, like your Chicago dogs, your Detroit dogs. You're like,
would you put an Oreo on a hot dog?
Okay, now that's different.
See,
if you're talking
there we go.
See, but that's different. Like if you're talking about pizza and someone puts, pineapple on their pizza, which I know you like, to me is like, I don't like that. That's not for me. That's not. I would borderline say it doesn't belong. It's a fruit, but for me, good. Like a hot, like
guess I'm what's a fruit? Tomato's a fruit.
Okay, here we go. I love a good hot dog. Let me just put it that way. Of all kinds, give me all the different styles. I love it all. I put ranch on my hot dogs. Like I don't like. Give me everything. Yeah.
See, I would not do the ranch, but most like conventional hot dog toppings, I'm fine with. Usually I'm just like pretty simple, like soubrette onions. I love soubrette onions on a hot dog. Outside of that, I'll usually go like ketchup, mustard, relish, and then like just typical like white onion on top. Variation of that, chili cheese, all that kind of stuff. Never really had like the Chicago style, like where like you're putting pickles on it and that. It's like I like relish on a hot dog. I probably would like a pickle on a hot dog. Yeah. I don't know about like the whole like onion slices. I've seen that from time to time. I don't know that I don't dislike tomatoes, but I don't know that I would put that on a hot dog. But like if you're just giving me the scope of everything in the world, there's a lot that shouldn't go on a hot dog.
Not me.
Next, have you seen Deadpool versus Wolverine? Do you plan on seeing it? This was asked by 904 Josh and Nathan. Haven't seen it, but I do plan on seeing it, and I've heard that it's really good.
Yeah, same. Haven't seen it yet, but I will. Mars is cool. Says, what are y'all's favorite things to do in Orlando? I mean, we kind of talked about this earlier. Neither of us live there. I used to. Don't live there anymore. Go to Magic games. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah.
No, when I go down there, it's for the Magic these days. I don't remember the last time I've been down there that wasn't related to the Magic. But if I am there, I'm also staying with old friends or seeing old friends. I still have a lot of really, really close friends that still live down there. So it's just to catch up with them and hang out and whatever.
Yeah, for me, I know it's not considered Orlando. Like if you're in Orlando, Disney isn't part of Orlando, but when everybody else thinks of Orlando, they think Disney.
Right.
So if I'm in that general area, it's usually Disney. Or now I love playing golf in Orlando. Beautiful golf courses there. This one is from one of my good friends, M. Lyman 12. He says, did you know when you clean a vacuum cleaner, you essentially become a vacuum cleaner? Wouldn't you become a vacuum cleaner?
Potentially. Anyway, this is from Jonathan Zahner. He said, who do you want to see win the World Series this year? He wants us to say the Baltimore Orioles.
Not the Orioles. Sorry, buddy.
I wouldn't mind the Orioles. That'd be fun. I mentioned I am a Rays fan. That's not going to happen, especially because we're trading everybody away right now like we always do.
Yeah.
I just don't follow baseball nearly as much as I used to these days, in part because of how the Rays are run, but also in part it's just the longest season. I just can't keep up anymore. So I basically anyone but the Yankees, like I always go. Thank you, Jonathan, for that. Don't want to see the Dodgers win, like none of those guys, but pretty much anyone else I don't really mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like if it's not the Yankees, I wouldn't be heartbroken if it was the Orioles. I'd be happy for our friend Jonathan Z there. For me, it'd be the Yankees. They just made a couple of moves. Traded for Jazz Chisholm. They do this every year where they go out and they get a name at the trade deadline and it never works. So I'm not really all that hopeful. Just like the last 9-10 years of Yankee baseball has really jaded me. Until they can actually win like a championship series, I'm just not going to get my hopes up. Doesn't matter if they make it to like the divisional round. Doesn't matter if they make it to the championship round. If they don't win a championship series, at least, then the season is a complete failure. They've just flamed out way too many times in the playoffs, and they just need to get it done. Sir Duckin asks, who is your college football team? I think we've already talked about that. But for me, it is the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, and I'm a Florida State fan. This is a question from Beast Mode Ryan, aka Ryan Singh, says, Jonathan, how did you and Carmen meet?
This is going to be a throwback for you all. If you're young, you may not even know what I'm talking about. But I met Carmen on Facebook. Saw a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, had posted a picture, and I was like, "Yo, this girl is nice looking." Reached out to that friend. She put us in touch. Carmen wanted absolutely nothing to do with me. And then a friend of hers told me, "Oh, hey, show up at this volleyball game." And I was like, "Oh, the one that Carmen told me that she's not going to be at?" And her friend's like, "Yes, she's going to be there. Just show up." So I walked in. I sat right next to her, and I didn't say anything to her. I just sat down, and she turned her head, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And yeah, she didn't want anything to do with me at first. But like a lot of things in life, I was persistent. And hey, we're here, almost 12 years later, and we have 3 wonderful children, and it worked out. Alec Alarakia, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, is asking bench PR. I think you're talking about bench, like weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
My bench PR is 215 pounds, but that's only because I'm kind of afraid to go heavier than that, because in the past when I've tried to, I've hurt myself. I'm very confident now that I could put up more than that with ease. But it's just one of those like mental hurdles, like in the gym, that when you get to a certain age, you're not really lifting to see like how much weight you can put up. You're just trying to be healthy and be strong. And I don't want to ruin a month of my life by trying to see if I can put up 230 pounds.
Yep. Never been able to bench. It's another one of those heart things. Not allowed to do. But I know it surprises a lot of people based on my physique, but yeah, I can't do that.
I'm shocked.
I'm just kidding. David James 407 said, y'all smoke weed or no? No, I can't say that.
I'll buy a lot of LOLs.
Yeah, no, I added that. But anyway, no, the answer is no.
When I was in high school, I was at a party, and someone that I went to school with that I knew smoked a lot of weed was there, and he was in the process of smoking weed. And I said, "Hey, man, let me get some of that." And I took one hit. I didn't feel anything. And I know, well, of course, you don't feel anything after taking one hit. But in my 17-year-old mind, I was like, this is stupid. And I just never did it again. So no, I don't smoke weed. This next one, favorite WWE wrestler of all time. This is from Champagne Poppy Real. I have a few. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, definitely some of my favorites as a kid. Love Stone Cold Steve Austin. Love Triple H. Definitely was very much into that like attitude era, like into like the ruthless aggression era of WWE. Yeah, I still find it like somewhat entertaining. Like last year, I know I forget what happened at WrestleMania, but something cool happened. I remember getting excited about that, but that shows you how much I don't even pay attention to it anymore, because I can't even remember what happened. But yeah, I was a huge WWE fan as a kid.
I couldn't tell you anyone other than like the big names. Like I've never watched it, never been into it. Was The Undertaker, is that WWE?
Yes.
Okay. I did play like a WWE video game with my cousins for a while. Good. So it's probably him. I like the aura that he has, like the persona with like the music and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty sick. So I guess him, but I don't know. K Dizzy 88 says, what do you think about Robert Downey Jr. being revealed as Dr. Doom? Did you see that clip?
I did see that.
Again, I'm not well versed in the Marvel universe enough to like have an opinion. Some people are talking about that it could be Tony Stark in a different multiverse. I don't know enough about that to speak on it. For me, if that's not the case, it feels a little weird that they're just recycling people in characters. But if that is the case, I guess that's cool. I don't know if you know anything about that, Jonathan.
So the only thing that I remember from Doctor Doom, and I could be so wrong by this, so feel free to let me know if I'm dumb, but like this is what I remember as a kid. I remember the original Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba, with the guy from S.H.I.E.L.D., with Chris Evans, and I believe the guy that played Victor Von Doom was the same guy that was one of the co-stars of that FX show Nip Tuck. I don't remember if you remember that, but you saw the guy, you know exactly who I'm talking about. I believe he was Doctor Doom in that like first Fantastic Four movie back in the day. So I don't know a lot about the character at all. I am excited to have Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU. I have not been as interested in the MCU outside of Spider-Man post Endgame. Like I just sort of got like MCU fatigue. But a lot of the stuff that they've put out, I just feel like has not been as good. But with Robert Downey Jr. coming back, I definitely am intrigued. But the fact that they're bringing him back, it does sort of cheapen Iron Man dying in Endgame. Yeah. So I do think it's cool that he's coming back. I think he has the potential to do a fantastic job. I think he's a great actor. But if it were up to me, I just would have let that die.
Yeah, it feels weird. Like there are so many good actors out there.
Right.
Why are you recycling the one that gave you great years in the universe? It just feels
honestly, if they were bringing him back, I would like just make him Iron Man.
Right.
Like if you're doing it, just go ahead and make him Iron Man.
Yeah.
Next one. What are you excited to see with the Giants this year with the free agents they've signed? This is from Ryan Singh. Kevin probably doesn't care at all about the Giants. Really excited about them trading, for Brian Burns. Really excited that they've invested some into the, offensive line. Really, like the Giants fans have been talking about that for the last 15 years. It feels like fixing the offensive line. They never have. I don't feel like this is a fix, but I feel like it should be much improved from where it was last year, where it was quite literally the worst offensive line in the NFL, which it has been for the better part of the last decade, it feels like. But what I'm most excited about is not a guy that they signed in free agency, but Malik Neighbors, their first round draft pick. All of the highlights coming out of training camp, the kid just looks like an absolute stud. And I love Daniel Jones. I was at his NFL debut in Tampa when the Giants played the Bucks. So I've just always had a really soft spot for Daniel, and I feel like he is talented. He just has not been able to put it all together for more than one season, which was just the one season a couple of years ago. So it's sort of like make a break for him. This next one is also a Giants question, like record prediction, also fantasy football sleeper. Fantasy football sleeper, I don't know. That's from Tom Gavin. I just ran into this next one because I know Kevin doesn't really care about the Giants.
Yeah.
I've started doing fantasy football mock drafts to see what is going on there. Daniel Jones always is a fantasy football sleeper because of what he's able to do with his legs. Daniel Jones won me a fantasy league a few years ago because of what he's able to do with his legs. And Giants record prediction, I'm going to say 8-9.
We haven't talked about this, Jonathan. After basketball season ended, I retired from fantasy sports.
Good for you.
So yeah, I am in no football leagues this year. I removed myself from the basketball league that I was in. So yeah, I'm officially retired from all things fantasy sports. I needed a little gap in my life, just a little bit of wiggle room. And I chose to get rid of fantasy sports. So I couldn't tell you who fantasy sleepers are for this year, which is pretty cool. And then the last question says, how is Kevin doing health-wise? Great question. I'm doing pretty good, actually. The symptoms that I've been having for basically the last 2 or 3 months, my body's gotten used to them, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I'm actually feeling pretty good. The best I've felt in a while. Even though I'm one of the biggest symptoms I have is shortness of breath. So I can't get a full breath. It feels like I'm getting 80% every time. Instead, when you try to get that really satisfying feeling of a full breath, I haven't had that in weeks, which is weird. When it first started happening, it was a freaky feeling. It's like I can't get my breath, but it's weird how your body and your brain adapts. My brain is now no, you're fine. It's not what you're used to, but it's cool. And so, but yeah, I'm definitely excited in a couple weeks to be able to breathe normally again, which will be cool. But yeah, I'm actually doing pretty well, feeling all right. And yeah, 2 weeks from this, as you guys are listening to this on Monday, the 29th, 2 weeks from now is when I'll be under the knife in the theater, as they say. So yeah, that's it.
And that is it for our questions. This is officially, I believe, the longest episode in the history of the Six Man Show.
Easily.
An hour and 48 something minutes here. So
Whew.
It was fun. Maybe we do this once a year. I thought it was fun, just being able to see what questions you have. So
just being able to shoot the shot,
Yeah, exactly. So Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you hated it, let us know and we'll never do it again. If you thought it was awesome, then we'll bring it back next year. So that is going to do it for this one. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to The Sixth Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!